I could at least try and do some of this uplink, see if I could get the teaming and so forth. And I have to remember how to do it. How do we do this? LAG, that would be your LAN aggregated group. Yes. Alright, this is what we need. We'll do LAG1. Reports, let's see if this works. Yeah, let's do it that way and see how that turns out. How do I access this guy then? Wait a minute, I think I just, there it is. I guess it was just taking a while. Maybe I wasn't paying attention and I was doing stuff there. I found some options in here under the, where you have your data center, distributed port groups, editing the settings on the actual port group. It has a few goodies, it looks like, and teaming and failover. Mixing lags in the standalone uplinks is not supported. Leave a single active lag or a combination of standalone uplinks and move the others to unused. So let's see how that works out. When a link aggregation group is selected, the only active uplink, the load balancing mode of the lag overrides the load balancing mode of the port group. So now I'll actually know whether, see how that turns out. Well, that blew it up. I think that took down the entire network. Well, back to the drawing board. Moments later, it just came back on, so it took a little while for it to apply those settings, it looks like. When it works, but the management portion of things can be a little bit slow, convoluted, and frustrating, especially for someone that's not trained, certified, or even familiar necessarily with anything. But I was able to get a distributed switch going, and it works. I can only assume the link aggregation works. So good news, it's hours later, I think. But I figured out how to get the link aggregation group working. Ultimately, and I was having a lot of issues with the server not playing nice, like it wouldn't sync with the vCenter every time I tried to do anything with it, and I figured out what it was, and that was if the server loses all connections to the LAN, then the sync fails and it reverts back. And that process takes maybe, in my case, 30 seconds or so. So ultimately what I had to do was when I made the link aggregation group, and I was just doing the default based on source destination IP address and TCP UDP ports, whatever with VLAN, I don't care. Put in my 3, and then I went here, the add hosts. I went to manage, click next, go into my server here, that's the host. And we're just managing the physical adapter. And I had to change each one of these. So I had to hit assign, and there is a new set of ports right there. That was the key element. So originally they were here, 1, 2, and 3. I assigned them respectively here. And then that worked, but I didn't work if I assigned all 3 of them at once. So first I assigned just 1 of the 3. And then when that was done, I went back into my topology. I went into here, I hit the little edit button, and when the teaming and failover, and then I moved the lag up to the active links, and I moved all the uplink ones off. So at this point, there was already redundancy, and then I went through that process again, and I put the rest of the adapters into the lag. Then I had everything, and everything works. I've been testing it, no problems. And I think my next step is going to be moving the WAN over. Let us go ahead and do the process to get the WAN port group here. The current infrastructure left over with the V switches, the standard, is this guy right here, which is using the final network interface, as well as a non-connected switch. So I'm going to first try and get the WAN going, converted, then move pfSense into it, and then see what the deal there is before I try and get this last bit in. So hopefully it's going to go smooth, but I don't know. Oh, and at the moment I'm also using my browser since I was constantly getting disconnected. So I'm just on my own computer right now. Create a new distributed port group. We'll call this the WAN D port group. Just keep everything as is. Okay, so far so good. And it looks like what it's connecting into are just empty adapters. The only ones that are connected are all in there. We need to move the uplink into here. So let's do that. This is where I'm going to lose my internet for a while. Manage, touch, boom, 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 boom. Actually, I got another idea. No wait. There we go. So assign an uplink. And I'm going to keep these uplinks the way they are. And I'm just going to put it here into the fourth uplink. The reason I'm going to do it this way instead of just dropping it to 1 is I don't know if this is going to remain the setup or not. And at least this gives me another thought process of how this is connecting. So I can easily see uplink 4. Oh, it's the fourth port on the back of my server's card. But that's just my mentality right now, especially in the early part of the process. So the only thing that should have changed is pfSense, and we're going to have to fix it as well. So yeah, we're not going to mess with that actually. We're just going to leave those alone. Completed. There's the uplink detected. There's the alarm. And we're going to make a configuration change here while we're at it. Teaming and failover. So 1, 2, and 3 can be tossed. They're not going anywhere, but don't see why they would stay. There's no redundancy or anything. It's just one cable, and it's coming in from my modem. And now we can take my pfSense here, edit the settings, go to the network card when it loads. Now it's no longer in this pfSense WAN, which was the vSwitch. It should be under WAN, and we can see it's got the distributed switch thing there, so that it helps confirm it. You can't edit these in the vSphere, or sorry, in the in the workstation. Maybe it's just not implemented and up to date yet. Perhaps like packet loss detected. Now it's all caught up. So here's the PFSense. Connects straight into there. That's perfect. So the interesting part of this whole thing is that the link aggregation group, this whole LACP thing that I made, I didn't have to configure anything on my managed switch. And it just seems to work fine. Just like my other test did back when I was doing, well, I didn't make a video for it yet, but it'll be an extension probably of this one in the near future when I get the second server deployed into this switch. But I didn't have to configure anything on the switch. And I don't think it's going to have any problems if it just went into a non-managed switch. I'm going to find that out and test it some more later on. Just had to throw that last bit in there.